Captain Jake Morrison stood at the window of his ship, the Endeavor, and looked at the huge space station ahead of them. Nexus 7 was bigger than any city on Earth. Lights blinked all over its surface like stars. This was the most important day in human history. Today, humans would meet the Galactic Council for the first time. Jake turned to look at his team. Dr. Lisa Carter was checking her notes again. She was the best scientist on Earth who studied alien life. Commander Rick Stone stood nearby, his military uniform perfectly clean. Rick was there to keep everyone safe. Then there was Amy Brooks, a young officer who looked nervous. "Are you ready for this?" Jake asked his team. Lisa nodded, but her hands shook a little. "I've studied everything we know about these alien races. The bug-like Cathari, the crystal people called Vorthan, the water-loving Zilani, and the lizard warriors known as Sorok." Rick crossed his arms. "Just remember, we're representing all of humanity today. Stay calm and follow my lead if anything goes wrong." Amy shifted the small carrier she held in her arms. "Sorry, Captain. I know bringing Whiskers seems silly, but the doctor said I need him for my anxiety. He helps me stay calm." Jake smiled. "It's fine, Amy. The council said we could bring personal items. I'm sure they'll understand." The docking bay doors opened with a loud hiss. Jake and his team walked into the space station. The air felt different here, thicker somehow. Strange smells filled the air, some sweet, some sharp, some unlike anything on Earth. A tall, thin alien with gray skin and large black eyes waited for them. "Welcome, humans. I am Guide Nemtar. Please follow me to the council chamber." They walked through long hallways filled with creatures Jake had only seen in pictures. Bug-like beings with shiny shells scurried past. Tall, crystal people glowed with soft light as they moved. Fish-like aliens swam in tubes filled with water that ran along the walls. "So many different types of life," Lisa whispered in wonder. The council chamber was enormous. A round table sat in the center, with chairs of different sizes and shapes. Around the table sat the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Ambassador Veltar the Cathari looked like a giant praying mantis with bright green eyes. His shell was dark and smooth. When he moved, it made soft clicking sounds. The Vorthan representative was a living crystal formation that changed colors as it thought. Beautiful lights danced inside its clear body. The Zilani delegate sat in a special chair filled with water. Her skin was blue-green and wet, with gills on her neck that moved as she breathed. War Chief Grimscale the Sorok was the most frightening. He looked like a huge lizard standing on two legs. His scales were dark red, and his yellow eyes never stopped watching. "Welcome, humans of Earth," Veltar said in a voice that sounded like wind through leaves. "We have waited long to meet your species. We have heard many stories about your world." Jake stepped forward. "Thank you for this chance to meet. We come in peace, hoping to learn and share with the galaxy. Your world is marked as very dangerous in our star maps," the Vorthan said. Its voice sounded like music made of light. "Tell us, how do humans survive on such a deadly planet?" Lisa looked confused. "Deadly? Earth is beautiful. We have forests, oceans, mountains. Many wonderful creatures live there with us." The aliens looked at each other. Some seemed worried. Amy held her carrier tighter. Whiskers was making soft sound inside, probably wanted to come out. She had kept him locked up for hours during the trip. "We brought some examples of Earth life." Jake said, "Dr. Carter has many pictures and videos to show you." "Pictures are good," Grimscale growled. "Real creatures would be too dangerous to bring here." Amy felt bad for Whiskers. He had been so good during the long trip. Maybe just for a minute, she could let him stretch his legs. The carrier was not very secure. She tried to fix the lock, but her nervous fingers fumbled with it. Click! The carrier door popped open. Whiskers, a normal orange house cat, stepped out. He stretched his legs and yawned, showing his small white teeth. Then he began to walk across the chamber floor, his tail up high and proud. The reaction was instant and terrible. Ambassador Veltar let out a sound like breaking glass and fell backward. His chair crashed to the floor. "The Shadow Stalker!" he screamed. How did they bring a Shadow Stalker here? The Vorthan's crystal body turned completely black. All the lights inside went out. "Impossible," it whispered. "The legends speak truth." Two Zilani guards jumped into their water tubes and swam away as fast as they could. The delegates' gills flapped wildly with fear. War Chief Grimscale and his warriors pulled out weapons, but their hands shook. "Stand back," he roared. The Terran Deathstalker moves to attack. Whiskers stopped walking and sat down. He began to clean his paw with his tongue, completely ignoring all the chaos around him. Jake and his team stood frozen. They had no idea what was happening. "You brought a monster to our sacred meeting place." Veltar cried from the floor. "Are you here to threaten us?" Amy looked down at Whiskers, who was now lying on his side in a patch of sunlight. "But he's just a cat." The word cat made the aliens panic even more. Several Cathari guards ran from the room. The Vorthans started flashing red warning lights. "Just a cat?" Grimscale said in disbelief. "You call the legendary Umbral Hunter just a cat?" Jake looked at his team, then at the terrified aliens, then at Whiskers, who had started purring. Something was very, very wrong here. The emergency meeting room was smaller than the main chamber, but the fear was just as big. Ambassador Veltar sat far from humans, his green eyes never leaving Whiskers. The cat was back in his carrier, but everyone could hear him purring. "Please," Jake said, holding up his hands. "There's clearly been a mistake. Whiskers is harmless. He's a pet, a companion animal." "Pet." The word came out of Veltar's mouth like he was saying something dirty. "You keep a Terran Deathstalker as a pet?" Dr. Carter opened her tablet and showed pictures of cats. "Look, they're common on Earth. Millions of humans have them in their homes. They sleep on our beds, play with our children." The aliens looked at the pictures with horror. One photo showed a little girl hugging a fluffy white cat. Another showed an old man with a cat sleeping on his lap. "Your children," whispered the Zilani delegate, who had finally stopped shaking. "You let your young ones near the silent death?" "Silent death?" Lisa asked. "What are you talking about?" The Vorthan's crystal body pulsed with dim light. "Show them the archives, keep her memory. They must understand what they have brought among us." A new alien entered the room. It looked like Veltar, but older, with a shell that had many scratches and marks. "I am Zexic, historian of the Cathari. What you call cats, we know by their true name, Umbral Hunters." Zexic activated a holographic display. Images appeared in the air showing ancient Cathari settlements. 5,000 years ago, our people built colonies on the outer rim worlds. Good planets with plenty of food and safe places to live. The images changed. Now they showed destroyed buildings and empty streets. Then they came, the Umbral Hunters. They moved without sound. Their eyes could see in complete darkness. They struck without warning and disappeared like ghosts. Entire colonies went silent. When rescue ships arrived, they found nothing but empty buildings and claw marks on the walls. Lisa stared at the pictures. "But those are just normal cat behaviors. They're naturally quiet walkers, and their eyes are designed for low light. The claw marks are probably from scratching posts or furniture." "Scratching posts?" Grimscale leaned forward. "You mean training posts for their claws?" "No," Rick said quickly. "They scratch to keep their claws healthy. It's like when you sharpen a knife to keep it working well." The aliens looked even more afraid. "You admit they maintain their weapons," Veltar said. Amy spoke up from the corner. "I also have a dog at home. His name is Buddy. He's a golden retriever." Every alien in the room went completely still. "A pack dominator," Zexic breathed. "You have tamed a pack dominator." "Pack dominator?" Amy asked. The Sorok war chief stood up slowly. "The ancient enemy of my people. Creatures that hunt in groups, using pack tactics that no military has ever defeated. They're said to be so clever that they can make other species love them, making slaves of entire races through loyalty manipulation. Buddy just likes to play fetch and get belly rubs," Amy said weakly. "Fetch training." Grimscale nodded grimly, teaching the creature to retrieve objects on command. Military discipline. Belly rubs. The Zilani delegate's gills flapped fast. You touch the creature's vulnerable areas? How do you survive such close contact? Dr. Carter was getting frustrated. These are normal, friendly animals. Let me show you more. She pulled up a video of a hamster running on a wheel. The small, fluffy creature ran and ran, its tiny legs moving fast. The Vorthen's light went out completely. Avoid spawner, it said in a voice like breaking ice. The legends say they can multiply faster than any other creature. One pair can become thousands in a single season. And look at its endurance. Veltar added, it runs without stopping. No creature should have such stamina unless it was designed for conquest. Lisa tried a different approach. She showed them a goldfish swimming in a bowl. This is very peaceful. It just swims around in circles. The Zolani delegate made a choking sound. The memory eraser. I thought they were just stories told to frighten children. Those who stare into its eyes lose their thoughts, their memories, their very sense of self. That's ridiculous, Lisa said. People keep goldfish because they're calming to watch. Calming, repeated the Vorthen. Yes, they calm you into submission before they steal your mind. Commander Stone tried to help. Look, I understand this is confusing, but these animals are not dangerous. I grew up with a snake as a pet. 3 Zolani guards fainted. Veltar's shell turned pale. A scalebane serpent, he whispered. The most feared predator in the galaxy. It moves like flowing water, strikes like lightning, and its bite brings death or madness. It was just a corn snake, Rick said, about 2 feet long. It ate mice once a week and slept most of the time. Mice? Zexik asked. Small rodents, gray or brown, about this big. Rick held up his fingers. Plague runners, the historian said. The creatures that carry disease and destruction across worlds. And you fed them to your scalebane serpent as training prey. Jake rubbed his forehead. Every time they tried to explain, things got worse. Let me understand this. You think the animals we keep as pets are the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy? Not think, Veltar said. No, your world has been marked as a death world for thousands of years. No species dares to land there because of the creatures that live with you. Death world. Lisa asked. The Vorthen pulsed with red light. Planets where life is so dangerous that even our strongest warriors fear to go. There are only 3 known death worlds in the galaxy. Earth is one of them. What are the other 2? Jake asked. Dead worlds, Grimscale said. The creatures there killed everything, including themselves. Only Earth still lives, which means only Earth found a way to survive alongside the ultimate predators. Amy looked down at Whiskers, who was sleeping peacefully in his carrier. So you think we're dangerous because we live with cats and dogs? More than dangerous, Veltar said. If humans can tame the untamable, if you can make allies of the galaxy's most feared predators, what does that make you? The room went quiet except for Whisker's soft purring. Finally, the Zolani delegate spoke. It makes them either the bravest species that ever lived or the most terrifying. Jake looked at his team. Lisa was pale, Rick was angry, and Amy was confused. Outside the window, he could see alien ships moving away from the station. They're evacuating, he realized. They're afraid of us. Zexik nodded. Word is spreading through the station. The humans have brought their war beast to Nexus 7. Some say it's the beginning of an invasion. This is insane, Rick said. We came here for peace. Did you? Grimscale asked. Or did you come to show us that resistance is futile? That if we do not surrender, you will release your pets upon us? Jake realized they were in serious trouble. The more they tried to explain, the more threatening they seemed. Somehow, humanity's love for animals had made them look like the scariest species in the galaxy, and he had no idea how to fix it. The Vorthen archive chamber was unlike anything the humans had ever seen. Massive crystal formations grew from floor to ceiling, each one glowing with different colors. Inside the crystals, images moved like living memories frozen in time. These are the memory crystals of our people, explained Resonance of Truth, the Vorthen keeper of memories. Its voice sounded like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. Every important event in galactic history is stored here. You wish to know why we fear your world? Let me show you. The largest crystal began to glow brighter. Images appeared inside it, showing a green and blue planet from space. It looked peaceful and beautiful. Earth, as it appeared 50,000 years ago. Resonance of Truth said. The Sauroch Empire was young then, exploring new worlds. They sent their best survey team to what they called Planet 47b. Jake and his team watched as the crystal showed Sauroch ships landing on Earth. The lizard-like beings wore advanced armor and carried powerful weapons. They looked confident and strong. What happened to them? Dr. Carter asked. The image changed. Now it showed the Sauroch explorers in what looked like African grasslands. In the distance, they could see large golden shapes moving through the tall grass. The golden-maned apex predators. Resonance of Truth said. Your people call them lions, we believe. The Sauroch had never seen creatures that hunted in such organized groups. Watch. The memory crystal showed the lions working together. Some moved to the left, others to the right. They surrounded the Sauroch camp without making a sound. Then they waited. Incredible tactical coordination, Commander Stone said. But lions are just doing what comes naturally to them. Natural? The crystal pulsed red. The Sauroch were seasoned warriors. They had conquered dozens of worlds. Yet these creatures outmaneuvered them like they were children. The images showed the Sauroch trying to set up defenses, but the lions seemed to understand every move they made. When the Sauroch built walls, the lions found ways around them. When they set traps, the lions avoided them. The final transmission from the survey team was this. Resonance of Truth said, the crystal filled with the sound of frightened Sauroch voices. Day 23. The golden ones are still out there. They're not attacking, but they're not leaving either. It's like they're studying us, learning our patterns. Some of the team thinks they're playing with us. Playing. What kind of predator plays with its prey? The transmission grew more panicked. Day 30. Johnson went missing during the night watch. We found tracks leading away from camp, but no signs of struggle. It's like he just walked away. The golden ones were seen near the perimeter, making soft sounds, almost like they were calling to him. Lisa felt cold. Lions can be very social. They're curious about new things. The last message came on day 45. Resonance of Truth continued. The crystal showed darkness, and they could hear wind and distant sounds. This is Commander Scalehide. If anyone receives this, stay away from Planet 47b. The Golden Hunters are too intelligent. They've learned our language somehow. They're trying to communicate with us, but not in the way you'd expect. They bring us food, fresh meat. They seem to want us to stay. Some of my team are talking about accepting their gifts. I don't know how much longer we can resist. There's something about them, something that makes you want to trust them, even though you know they could kill you in seconds. We're going to try to reach the ship tonight. If we don't make it, tell Command that Earth is not just dangerous. It's impossible. The creatures there don't just hunt. They recruit. The crystal went dark. No one ever heard from them again. Resonance of Truth said. Sauroch rescue ships found their equipment scattered across the grasslands, but no bodies. Some of the gear was arranged in patterns, like the creatures were trying to send a message. Amy hugged herself. Maybe the lions were just being friendly. Cats do that sometimes. They bring you dead mice because they care about you. Every alien in the room shuddered. The Zilani have their own stories. Resonance of Truth said. A new crystal began to glow, showing underwater scenes. 20,000 years ago, they encountered the aquatic void hunters. The images showed Zilani explorers in underwater suits, swimming through Earth's oceans. Suddenly, gray shapes appeared around them. Dolphins. The creatures approached without fear, the crystal voice explained. They circled the Zilani, making complex sounds. Within hours, the Zilani realized the sound were patterns, language patterns. Dr. Carter watched in amazement as the memory showed dolphins and Zilani trying to communicate. Dolphins are very intelligent. They learn quickly. Too quickly, Resonance of Truth said. By the second day, the aquatic void hunters had learned basic Zilani words. By the end of the first week, They were asking questions. The crystal showed a Zilani researcher floating in the water, surrounded by dolphins. The translation appeared as text. Why do you cover your skin? Why do you need machines to breathe our air? Are you sick? Can we help you? Questions led to more questions. The crystal continued. The creatures wanted to know about Zilani culture, their technology, their home world. But then the questions became strange. The text changed. What is death? Why do your people fear it? We have seen your old ones. They move slowly and then stop moving. Where do they go? Can you show us? Lisa felt uncomfortable. They were just curious about biological processes. The final reports from the Zilani team were classified for thousands of years. Resonance of Truth said, the creatures had begun asking philosophical questions that drove several Zilani scholars to madness. Questions about the nature of existence, the meaning of consciousness, the relationship between intelligence and emotion. The crystal showed the final message. The Void Hunters have learned our entire language in 30 days. They now speak to us about concepts we barely understand ourselves. They question everything. Why we explore space, why we live in cities, why we don't swim free in the oceans like they do. Worse, their questions make sense. Half my team wants to stay here and keep talking to them. They say the creatures have shown them a new way of thinking about life. I'm ordering immediate evacuation. These beings are too persuasive. They don't control minds, but they change them. They make you question everything you believe. That may be more dangerous than any weapon. The crystal faded. But the most terrifying records, Resonance of Truth said, come from the Kethari Great Archive. Zexix stepped forward as another crystal began to glow. The Great Pollination War, our darkest moment in history. The images showed a beautiful planet covered in flowers and gardens. Thousands of Kethari moved through the gardens, tending plants and gathering nectar. Our people had found paradise, Zexix said. A world with perfect flowers, ideal growing conditions. We began building our greatest city there. Then the images changed. Small golden creatures appeared among the flowers. Bees. At first, we welcomed the hive mind dominators. They seemed to help our gardens grow. But then we realized the truth. The crystal showed bees working in perfect coordination. Thousands of them, all moving with purpose. They built massive hives, organized supply lines, and defended their territory with deadly precision. They had turned our paradise into their fortress, Zexix said. Every flower, every garden, every tree was part of their grand design. And somehow, they had convinced us to help them. The images showed Kethari workers unconsciously helping the bees. They planted flowers where the bees wanted them. They cleared paths the bees needed. They protected beehives from other insects. We didn't realize we had become their servants until it was too late, Zexix continued. The creatures had somehow programmed us to serve their needs, not through force, but through some kind of biological manipulation that made us want to help them. Commander Stone was getting angry. Bees pollinate flowers. It's a natural partnership. Both species benefit. Natural? Zexix's shell darkened. There was nothing natural about 10,000 Kethari abandoning their own culture to serve tiny flying creatures. The bees had created the perfect slave system. They provided just enough benefit to make us dependent on them, then gradually increased their demands until we existed only to serve their hive. How did you escape? Jake asked. We didn't, Zexix said sadly. We abandoned the planet, left everything behind. The last surveillance images show the entire world had become one massive hive complex. Even our abandoned cities were being converted to serve bee purposes. The crystal went dark, leaving the room in dim light. Resonance of Truth as colors shifted to deep purple. Do you understand now, humans? Every creature you call a pet has destroyed civilizations. Your world is not just dangerous. It is impossible. Yet somehow, you not only survive there, you thrive. You live in harmony with beings that have conquered armies and driven entire species to madness. Dr. Carter looked at her tablet, at all the pictures of happy humans with their pets. Suddenly, every innocent photo looked different. A child hugging a cat could be seen as a human taming an umbral hunter. A man walking his dog could be interpreted as controlling a pack dominator. The question that terrifies us, Resonance of Truth continued, is not what your pets might do to us. The question is, what kind of species can make allies of the galaxy's most feared predators? And if you can tame the untamable, what does that make you? Jake looked around the chamber at all the glowing crystals, each one holding memories of civilizations that had fallen to Earth's animals that his daughter played with in their backyard. For the first time since they'd arrived at the station, he began to understand why the aliens were so afraid, not of Earth's creatures, of humanity itself. The diplomatic quarters on Nexus. 7 were meant to be comfortable, but the tension in the room made everyone nervous. Commander Stone had convinced the alien leaders to give them one more chance to explain human culture. He thought showing them happy videos of humans and their pets would help. He was wrong. "Let me show you how humans really live with these creatures," Rick said, setting up a holographic display. "This will prove that our animals are harmless companions." The first video showed a cat show from Earth. Dozens of cats sat calmly on tables while humans judged them. The cats were groomed to perfection, their fur shiny and their eyes bright. Ambassador Veltar made a choking sound. "Military inspection," he whispered. "They're displaying their Umbral hunters for evaluation." "No," Lisa said quickly. "It's a beauty contest. We judge which cats are the prettiest or have the best personalities. You select the most perfect specimens," the Vorthan translated. "It's crystal body flashing warning colors. Breeding program optimization." The video showed a winner being chosen. A beautiful Persian cat with long, fluffy fur received a ribbon while the crowd clapped. The champion, Grimscale, said grimly, "The perfect killer, honored above all others." Rick tried a different video. This one showed a dog agility course. A border collie ran through obstacles, jumped over hurdles, and wove between poles while its owner called out commands. The reaction was immediate terror. "Advanced tactical training." Veltar said, his shell turning pale. "The pack dominator follows complex battle commands perfectly. Look at its speed, its precision." "It's just a game," Amy said weakly. "The dog is having fun." Fun. The Zilani delegate's gills flapped rapidly. "That creature executes every command without hesitation. It shows no fear of obstacles, no confusion about orders. Perfect military discipline." The video showed the dog finishing the course and running to its owner, tail wagging. The human hugged the dog and gave it a treat. "Reward system," Zexic noted. "The human reinforces successful completion of combat training with food incentives." Dr. Carter tried to salvage the situation. "Let me show you something peaceful." She played a video of a goldfish swimming in a large aquarium. Soft music played in the background as the fish moved slowly through planted decorations. The Zilani delegate made a sound like a scream underwater. "The memory eraser in its hunting grounds," she gasped. "Look how it moves in hypnotic patterns." The background sounds are designed to put the viewer into a trance state. "It's just relaxing music," Lisa protested. "Psychological conditioning," the Vorthan said. "It's light dimming." The combination of the creature's movements and the audio creates a meditative state in the viewer. Classic mind control techniques. Jake was getting desperate. "Let's try something completely innocent." He showed them a video of a hamster running on a wheel in a cage filled with toys and bedding. Every alien in the room took a step backward. The void spawner in its breeding chamber. Veltar breathed. "Look at the endurance training. It runs for hours without stopping." "The chamber is filled with nested materials," Grimscale observed, "optimized for rapid reproduction." "Those are toys," Amy said. "Tubes to crawl through, things to chew on. Hamsters like to play." "Training equipment," Zexa corrected. "Tunnel systems for stealth movement practice. Chewing stations to keep their teeth sharp for combat." The video showed the hamster stuffing its cheeks with food, its face bulging comically. "Food storage adaptation," the Vorthan noted. "The creature can carry supplies for extended military operations." Commander Stone was getting frustrated. "Fine, let me show you the most harmless thing I can think of." He played a video of a sleeping cat. The orange tabby was curled up in a sunny spot. purring softly. Tactical rest position. Veltar said immediately. Notice how it chooses the high ground with maximum visibility. Even in sleep, the Umbral Hunter maintains strategic awareness. It's just napping in the sunshine, Rick said through gritted teeth. Solar energy absorption. The Zilani delegate added. The creature recharges its systems using stellar radiation. The cat in the video stretched and yawned, showing its teeth and claws briefly before curling up again. Weapons check, Grimscale noted. It maintains its natural armaments even during rest periods. Dr. Carter was almost crying with frustration. These are normal animal behaviors. Sleep, eat, play, exercise. Every living thing does these things. Not like this, Resonance of Truth said, floating into the room. We have reviewed your video archives. Would you like to see how we interpret your human-pet interactions? Before anyone could answer, the Vorthan began showing the alien perspective on the videos. The cat show became a military parade showcasing elite combat units. The dog agility course was labeled Advanced Warfare Training Exercises. The goldfish aquarium was titled Psychological Warfare Demonstration. Here, Resonance of Truth said, is what disturbs us most. The screen showed a simple video of a little girl playing with a kitten. The child was maybe 5 years old, giggling as the kitten pounced on a toy mouse. A human child, Veltar said in horror, being trained to command an Umbral Hunter from the earliest age. She's just playing, Lisa said desperately. The creature obeys the child's movements, the Vorthan noted. It follows the toy exactly where the child directs it. This demonstrates human control over the predator's hunting instincts. But look at the child's reaction, Zexig added. No fear. Complete comfort around a legendary killer. This suggests generations of conditioning. The video showed the kitten getting tired and curling up in the little girl's lap. The child petted it gently, and both of them fell asleep. Bonding ritual complete. Grimscale said grimly, the creature has accepted a human as its pack leader. The child now has a lifelong bodyguard that will kill anything that threatens her. That's not. Jake started, then stopped, because wasn't that exactly what pets did? Dogs protected their families. Cats brought dead mice to their owners. Even goldfish seemed to recognize their caretakers. We have been analyzing your cultural data. Resonance of Truth continued. The statistics are terrifying. Over 60% of human households contain at least one of these creatures. Some humans keep multiple species. We found records of humans who have cats, dogs, birds, fish, and reptiles all in the same dwelling. Private armies, Veltar whispered. Each human family commands a diverse collection of specialized predators. The most disturbing discovery, the Vorthan continued, is your pet insurance industry. Humans spend billions of credits annually on medical care for their creatures. This suggests a strategic investment in maintaining your biological weapons at peak efficiency. Amy looked around the room at all the terrified alien faces. You really think we're some kind of monster species, don't you? Not monsters, Resonance of Truth said sadly. Something worse. You are the ultimate predators. Not because you hunt, but because you recruit. You turn the galaxy's most feared creatures into willing allies. You don't conquer through force. You conquer through friendship. That's exactly what the aquatic void hunters did to my people, the Zilani delegate said. They made us want to help them. And the hive mind dominators made us serve them willingly, Zexig added. If humans can do the same thing to those creatures, what hope do we have of resisting you? The room fell silent, except for Whiskers purring from his carrier. Finally, Jake spoke. So let me understand this. You think humans are dangerous because we love our pets. Love. Grimscale repeated the word like it tasted bitter. Yes, that's what makes you truly terrifying. You've weaponized affection. You've turned loyalty into a tool of conquest. The vote has been scheduled, Veltar announced. In 18 hours, the Galactic Council will decide whether to issue a preemptive strike against Earth before your pet armies can be fully mobilized. Pet armies? Rick stood up angrily. This is insane. We're talking about house cats and goldfish. House cats that eliminated an entire Cathari colony. Veltar reminded him. Goldfish that drove Zilani scholars to madness. Creatures that brought down the Sorok Empire's best warriors. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was unlike anything in their history. Representatives from hundreds of worlds had gathered, either in person or through holographic projection. The great chamber buzzed with nervous energy as species that had never agreed on anything found themselves united in fear. Jake and his team sat in the center of the room, surrounded by a circle of alien leaders. Whiskers was still in his carrier, but everyone kept their distance. Even the bravest warriors stayed at least 10 feet away from the Terran Deathstalker. Chancellor Mordun of the Outer Rim spoke first. His people looked like walking trees with glowing bark. We have received reports from across the galaxy. Human space is surrounded by evacuation ships. Entire trade routes have been abandoned. This is the largest evacuation in galactic history. The humans claim they come in peace, said General Claxno of the Insectoid Alliance. But they brought their most feared predator to our most sacred meeting place. How do we interpret this? It could be a threat, suggested Ambassador Telwyn of the Crystalline Consortium. A demonstration of power. Or, added Commander Velnash of the Aquatic Federation, it could be their normal behavior, which might be even more terrifying. Jake stood up slowly. Please listen to us. We never meant to threaten anyone. We don't even understand why you're so afraid. That makes it worse, muttered someone from the back of the chamber. Dr. Carter activated her tablet. Let me show you something different. Not videos of our pets, but data about human society. The holographic display showed Earth's population statistics. There are 8 billion humans on Earth. Of those, over 4 billion live with what you call umbral hunters. 2 billion have pack dominators. Millions keep void spawners, memory erasers, and other species you fear. The chamber erupted in panic. 4 billion humans with umbral hunters? Veltar's show was shaking. That's an army larger than most stellar empires. And they're just living normal lives, Lisa continued. Children go to school with their pets waiting at home. Families gather for dinner, while their cats sleep nearby. Old people find comfort in the company of dogs. Mass conditioning, whispered the Vorthan representative. The entire species has been converted. Commander Stone tried a different approach. Let me tell you about my childhood. I grew up on a farm of 12 cats, 3 dogs, 2 horses, a dozen chickens, and a pet pig named Bacon. Several aliens fainted. 12 umbral hunters. Grimscale counted in horror. 3 pack dominators. Multiple species, in coordinated operation. They were just farm animals, Rick protested. The cats kept mice out of the grain. The dogs helped herd the sheep. The chickens laid eggs. Multi-species military complex. The insectoid general translated. Pest elimination units, crowd control specialists, and resource production animals. The pig was named Bacon? Asked a confused Zilani delegate. It was ironic, Rick explained. Bacon is a food made from pig meat, but this pig was a pet. We would never eat him. The aliens looked even more confused and frightened. They named their creatures after food, Chancellor Mordun said slowly. Psychological warfare against their own allies. Amy decided to try being completely honest. I've had pets my whole life. My first cat was named Princess. She slept on my bed every night and purred when I was sad. When she died, I cried for days. Emotional dependency, the Vorthan observed. The umbral hunter had successfully bonded with a human child. When I got Whiskers as a kitten, he was so small he fit my hands. I bottle-fed him because his mother couldn't care for him. I taught him to use a litter box, to play with toys, to come when I called his name. Training protocol from birth, Zexic noted. Complete domestication of a legendary predator. He follows me around the house, sits on my desk while I work, and brings me his favorite toy when he wants to play. Sometimes he gets scared during thunderstorms and hides under my bed. The chamber went silent. Scared. Veltar asked finally, The umbral hunter shows fear? All animals get scared sometimes, Amy said. Loud noises, strange places, new people. When Whiskers is frightened, he comes to me for comfort. The predator seeks protection from its human, the crystalline representative said in amazement. Complete role reversal. Dr. Carter sensed an opportunity. That's the point. Our relationship with these animals isn't based on dominance or control. It's based on mutual care. Impossible, Grimscale growled. Predators don't seek comfort from prey. But humans aren't prey, Jake said. We're partners. We take care of our pets, and they provide companionship, protection, and emotional support. The human military leader admits to emotional support from a pack dominator. Observe the insectoid general. The creature has compromised his psychological defenses. Rick was getting angry. My dog Rex saved my life once. I was hiking and fell into a river. The current was too strong, and I couldn't swim to shore. Rex jumped in and pulled me out. Tactical rescue operation, someone translated. No, Rick shouted. He did it because he loved me. Because dogs are loyal and brave and good. The word good seemed to confuse the aliens more than anything else. Good. Chancellor Mordun asked, You assign moral values to creatures? Of course, Lisa said. Some animals are sweet and gentle. Others are playful and energetic. Some are calm and wise. They have personalities, just like people. Anthropomorphization. The Vorthan said, The humans project consciousness and morality onto their biological weapons. They're not weapons. Amy stood up, frustrated tears in her eyes. Whiskers isn't a weapon. He's my friend. He comforts me when I'm lonely, makes me laugh when he plays, and give me someone to care for. He's not a tool or a soldier or a monster. He's family. The chamber fell completely silent. Family. The concept seemed to break something in the alien's understanding. Family? Veltar repeated the word slowly. Yes, Jake said firmly. Our pets are family members. We love them, they love us, and we take care of each other. But love, said the Zolani delegate hesitantly, love is not strategic. Love is not logical. Love makes no sense for military purposes. Exactly, Dr. Carter said. That's why this whole situation is a misunderstanding. You can't weaponize love. You can't militarize family bonds. What we have with our pets isn't a tool of conquest. It's just life. General Claxnor's antennae twitched. But if it's not military, if it's not strategic, then why do you do it? Why do you share your homes with creatures that could kill you? Amy looked down at Whiskers, who was watching her through the carrier mesh with bright, trusting eyes. Because, she said simply, it makes us happy. The silence stretched on and on. Finally, Chancellor Mordun spoke. Happiness, he said thoughtfully. Not conquest. Not dominance. Not military advantage. Happiness. The humans keep galaxy-class predators in their homes, the Vorthan said slowly, because it makes them happy. Which means, Grimscale said grimly, either humans are the most insanely brave species in the universe, or, Jake prompted, or these creatures aren't actually predators at all. At least not to humans. For the first time since they'd arrived at the station, Jake saw a glimmer of hope in the alien faces around him. But the vote was still scheduled for tomorrow, and he still had no idea how to convince an entire galaxy that humanity's greatest weapons were actually just furry friends who liked belly rubs and tuna treats. Outside the chamber, he could see more evacuation ships departing into the darkest space, carrying refugees from the terrifying humans and their army of beloved pets. The private meeting chamber was smaller and quieter than the main council hall. Jake had requested this final chance to speak, with just the core representatives before tomorrow's vote. The mood was tense, but not as panicked as before. Dr. Carter sat quietly, watching the aliens interact with each other. Something had been bothering her since the archive viewing, and she was finally beginning to understand what it was. Ambassador Veltar was cleaning his carapace with quick, precise movements. But he wasn't doing it alone. A small, beetle-like creature sat on his shoulder, carefully polishing the spots he couldn't reach. The creature was maybe the size of a quarter, with bright green wings and gentle movements. Ambassador, Lisa said carefully, what is that little creature helping you? Veltar froze. This? It's just a carapace cleaner. They're common on our world. It's beautiful, Amy said, leaning forward to get a better look. Does it live with you? Live with me? Veltar looked confused. I suppose, yes. It stays in my quarters. I provide food and it maintains my shell. Lisa exchanged glances with Jake. How long have you had it? This one? About 12 years. Her name is Click. You named it? Commander Stone asked. Her, Veltar corrected. And yes, of course. How else would I call her when I need grooming? Dr. Carter looked around the room with new eyes. The Zilani delegate had what looked like algae growing in her breathing apparatus, but the way she occasionally touched them seemed caring, almost protective. Are those plants in your gills decorative? Lisa asked. The Zilani delegate's gills fluttered. Plants? Oh, you mean my breath filters. They're not plants. They're small organisms. They clean my air and provide fresh oxygen. Do they have names? Well, yes. This cluster is Bubble, and these smaller ones are the Gleam family. Lisa turned to the Vorthan representative. Those crystal fragments you carry, are they just tools? The Vorthan's colors shifted to what might have been embarrassment. The Harmony crystals? They're companions. This is Bright Song and Deep Thought. They help me process emotions and organize my memories. How long have you been together? Bright Song has been with me since I was young. Deep Thought joined us about 30 years ago. Commander Stone looked at War Chief Grimscale. Let me guess. You have small creatures that help clean your scales. Grimscale's yellow eyes looked uncomfortable. The scale polishers are necessary for proper hygiene. Without them, our armor becomes dull and weak. What are their names? A long pause. Sharptooth and Quickclaw are the primary ones. Little Bite is still learning. Amy sat back in her chair. You all have pets. They're not pets. Veltar protested. They're practical symbiotic relationships. They have names, Lisa pointed out. You care for them, they help you, and you've had them for years. How is that different from humans and their pets? Because, Zexic said firmly, our companions are small, harmless creatures. Yours are legendary predators. But that's just perspective, Dr. Carter said excitedly. Don't you see? Every species forms bonds with smaller creatures that help them somehow. Humans just happen to form bonds with creatures that seem dangerous to you. She pulled up her tablet and showed them a picture of a cat sitting peacefully in a sunny window. This is what humans see when we look at cats. Not an umbral hunter or a shadow stalker. Just a small, warm creature that likes to sit in the sun and purr when it's happy. But the size, Grimscale protested. Your cats are massive compared to our scale polishers. Amy laughed. Massive? Whiskers weighs 8 pounds. I can pick him up with one hand. 8 pounds. Veltar's shell rattled. Click weighs perhaps an ounce. Relative size, Jake realized. What seems huge and threatening to you is small and manageable to us. Lisa was getting excited. It's all about scale and perspective. Your species are smaller than humans, so our pets seem enormous to you. But we're also bigger, stronger, and more durable than your species. What looks like a deadly predator to you is just a house pet to us. But the abilities, the Zilani delegate insisted. The stealth, the hunting skills, the pack coordination, are balanced by our own abilities, Commander Stone said. Humans are also predators. Remember, we hunt. We use tools. We work in groups. We can match our pets' abilities, so we don't see them as threats. More importantly, Amy added, we don't want to control them through fear. We want to live with them as friends. Dr. Carter stood up and walked to Whisker's carrier. May I let him out? I promise he won't hurt anyone. The alien's tense, but Veltar slowly nodded. If you think it's safe. Amy opened the carrier door. Whisker stepped out, stretched, and looked around the room with calm curiosity. Then he did something completely unexpected. He walked directly to Veltar and sat down next to the Cathari's chair. He's not threatening, Amy said softly. He's just curious about Click. Everyone watched as Whiskers observed the small cleaning creature on Veltar's shoulder. Click paused in her work and looked back at the cat. For a moment, the two creatures simply studied each other. Then Whiskers laid down and began to purr. "What is that sound?" Veltar asked nervously. "He's happy," Amy explained. "Cats purr when they're content. He likes being near you and Click." Click resumed her cleaning work, apparently unbothered by the giant predator nearby. Whiskers closed his eyes and continued purring. "This is impossible," Grimscale said quietly. "The legendary Umbral Hunter shows no aggression toward Veltar's companion." "Because there's no reason for aggression," Lisa said. "Whiskers isn't hungry. He's not threatened, and he's not territorial about this space. He's just a friendly cat meeting new people." The Vorthin's crystals shifted to curious blue. "The creature shows no signs of predatory behavior." "Because he's not hunting," Jake explained. "He's socializing. Cats are actually very social animals when they feel safe." Veltar looked down at Whiskers, who was now lying peacefully beside his chair. Click had finished her work and was resting on the ambassador's shoulder, occasionally glancing at the cat. "I don't understand," Veltar said slowly. "Our legends speak of creatures that destroyed colonies, eliminated armies, drove species to madness. But this is just a small animal being friendly. Legends get exaggerated over time," Dr. Carter said gently, "especially when they're about things people fear and don't understand." Amy knelt down and gently petted Whiskers, who purred louder. "The stories you heard were probably based on real encounters, but they weren't complete. Yes, cats can hunt very effectively. Yes, dogs are loyal and protective. Yes, goldfish can be mesmerizing to watch. But those abilities don't make them monsters. They just make them good companions for humans." "You mean," the Zilani delegate said hesitantly, "that your pets are to you what our companions are to us? Helper creatures that you care about?" "Exactly," Jake said. "The only difference is size and perspective." Grimscale looked thoughtful. "If this is true, then humans are not the galaxy's greatest threat. You're just a larger version of what we all already do. We all form bonds with other creatures." Lisa agreed. "We all care for smaller beings that help us in some way. Humans just do it with creatures that happen to be bigger than your companions." Veltar reached down slowly and touched Whiskers' head. The cat looked up at him with calm, friendly eyes. "He doesn't want to hurt me," Veltar said in wonder. "Of course not," Amy said. "You're being gentle and respectful. Why would he want to hurt you?" For the first time since they'd arrived at the station, Jake saw understanding instead of fear in the alien faces around him. "So when humans say they love their pets," the Vorthin said slowly, "you mean the same thing we mean when we care for our companions?" "Yes," Jake said firmly. "Love, care, friendship, family. The same emotions, the same bonds, just with different creatures." Whiskers stood up, walked over to the Zilani delegate, and sat down near her chair. She tensed for a moment, then relaxed as the cat simply looked at her with calm interest. "He's not threatening," she realized. "He's just friendly. That's all he's ever been," Amy said. "Just a friendly cat who likes meeting new people." The room was quiet except for Whiskers' gentle purring and the soft sounds of the alien companions going about their business. Finally, Veltar spoke. "I think we may have made a terrible mistake." "Not a mistake," Jake said kindly. "A misunderstanding, but one we can fix." Outside the window, the evacuation ships were still departing. But for the first time since arriving at Nexus 7, Jake felt hopeful that they might be able to turn those ships around. All because a little orange cat had decided to make some new friends. The Grand Council Assembly Hall had never seen anything like it. Instead of the planned war vote, representatives from across the galaxy were gathered for what they now call the Great Understanding Ceremony. Whiskers sat calmly on the speaker's platform, completely unaware that he had become the most famous cat in galactic history. Around him, alien delegates were sharing stories of their own companion creatures. "I propose we rename this gathering," Chancellor Mordun announced. "Instead of the Emergency War Council, let us call it the First Interspecies Companionship Conference." Cheers and various alien sounds of approval filled the chamber. Ambassador Veltar stood at the podium, with Click still perched on his shoulder. 3 days ago, I thought humans were the most terrifying species in the galaxy. Today, I realize they're the most similar to us. He gestured to the human delegation. Every species here forms bonds with smaller creatures. The Kethari have our carapace cleaners. The Zolani have their breath filters. The Vorthan work with harmony crystals. The Sorok care for scale polishers. Grimscale stepped forward. Humans simply do this with larger creatures because humans themselves are larger and stronger. What we saw as impossible domination of predators was actually normal companionship, scaled to human size. Dr. Carter activated the holographic display. We'd like to propose a galactic companionship initiative. Instead of fear and misunderstanding, we can share knowledge about how different species form bonds with other life forms. The display showed images from across the galaxy. Kethari with their tiny cleaners, Zolani with their symbiotic organisms, Vorthan with their crystal partners, Sorok with their scale maintenance crews. Each species has found ways to live in harmony with other life forms. Lisa continued. We can learn from each other. Amy stood up with whiskers in her arms. I'd like to start the first exchange program. Any species interested in learning about cats is welcome to visit Earth and meet our pets safely. A young Kethari delegate raised her claw. I volunteer. I want to understand how creatures so large can be so gentle. And I want to learn about your carapace cleaners. Amy replied. Maybe Click and Whiskers can be friends. The Vorthan representative pulsed with warm colors. We propose the establishment of New Harmony Station, a place where all species can come to study interspecies relationships. Earth offers to host the first research center, Jake announced. We can provide safe, controlled environments for aliens to interact with our pets. Commander Stone stepped forward. We've learned something important here. What one species sees as terrifying, another sees as normal. Our deadly predators are just our beloved family members. The Zolani delegate raised her fin. This raises an interesting question. What do humans think of our companion creatures? Lisa smiled. We think they're wonderful. The cooperation between you and your breath filters is beautiful. The way Veltar cares for Click shows the same love we have for our pets. And we'd love to learn about the emotional processing abilities of harmony crystals, Amy added. Zexic, the Kethari historian, stood up. I'm motioned to rewrite our historical records. The stories of Earth's creatures destroying our colonies were incomplete. They didn't account for the possibility of peaceful coexistence. Seconded, said Grimscale. The Sorok Empire's encounters with Earth animals should be re-examined. Perhaps our ancestors could have found friendship instead of conflict.